brothers and sisters, we've got to move along with the times, and we've got to cater for the new generation as we are moving along. Things are moving very, very fast. Every year we've got things that are coming along in this world which we never saw before. If you thought yesterday was something, then today is something even more different. 20 years ago we could not even imagine the kind of things that are being taught in schools today, where it's becoming compulsory to teach those things. We couldn't even imagine that 20 years ago. You have to understand that we're entering the world now where yesterday it was just a few games. Now with Facebook Meta, we're going to get an entire new way of playing games. If our children were hooked, and they are hooked today with a headphone set on their heads, and they are playing real time with 100 other people in a game, and they're talking to 4 other people simultaneously to their friends, and they're saying, they're talking to them and they're engaging with them. If that is the case where, if that is the case where they are, if that is the case where people are engaged, and you still being able to see them, what's going to happen tomorrow when our children have got a helmet or let's say something that actually covers their eyes, and in that they enter a virtual world and they're playing in that virtual world. Facebook Meta has already started. We're working on this world to create this world, and it's going to get more and more intensive. Imagine walking into your house, your teenager son, your teenager daughter has got something over their eyes. They've got no eye contact with you. They've got something over their ears. They've got no listening with you. But they're locked in an online game. And they're living in your house. They are eating when they want in your house, but they've got rarely any communication with you. What is that going to do? In the name of technology, in the name of these devices, we have entered this world, which is a huge risk for our human relationship. We have now got husband and wife sitting in the same living room, both of them sitting there for 1 hour, not talking to each other, but both of them on their phones. Both of them talking to their friends, both of them chatting to others outside, and yet the real people who matter to you, you're not really connected with them. Now this is the kind of world we have already entered. We're here now. This is it. We're here. Now the big question is, will we get our children continuously coming to the masjids? Will they actually be engaged in the education system? Or are we already in a danger where we're losing them from that, and soon we're going to probably lose them from the masjid totally? These games that are being created have been created with experts behind them, where the color schemes, the background, the movement on the screens, the enjoyment that they get in catching the little things. Let's just take a simple game. Simple game which has been played for over a decade is the subway surf, right? So that game where you jump over trains and you collect the coins. You guys know what I'm talking about yet? Yeah. So jump over one train, another train, you collect the coins. And in the background, they've even got some music to keep your mind occupied. You're collecting the coins, and then suddenly you just missed that train that was going to crash into you, and it gets faster and faster, and you're collecting more and more games. If you look at that simple game, what's happening is that there's so much animation going on. There's so much interaction, so much attractiveness for the player who's playing, that they see so much movement, excitement, collection of coins, and making that high score, which beating the last high score, and being able to share this over with their friends to others, and make them feel that, you know what, I'm ahead of this entire game. I've gone even further with this game. You know what happens? It makes you feel, once you switch that thing off, you switch the device off. Imagine if you told a kid to switch the device off. What happens is the whole world, once you switch that game off, the world is going to become boring. The world becomes very, very boring. And it becomes something which, when you look at your living room, when you look at your living room space, the walls are boring after you switch that game off. The room is boring. Nothing's moving. While you're playing the game, there's so much chemicals being released inside the brains. This is from real studies. The same chemicals get released when someone takes drugs. On a very smaller portion, the same chemicals in the brain gets released. So when kids are collecting those coins, when kids are getting to a new level, when they've got a high score, when they've made that chance where they were going to get hit and they moved in time, it gives them a buzz. It gives them an excitement. With this, what happens is they have, they've reached a new level, they're really excited, they're going to share all of this with their mates and so on. And when they switch it off, they find you boring. They find their place like, what is it? The amount of motivation they've got in playing that game, because there's dopamine and other chemicals being released in the brain. Let's just say, for example, they've got a 50 plus in terms of their little chemicals released. So they're 50 plus high, they're feeling on a high. As soon as they switch these games off, whether it's PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox, as soon as they switch them off, they've gone now 50% down in their mood. There are mood swings they go across. Boys, girls, they go through mood swings when they switch these devices off. And what we've got to understand is that we are the people who have provided this in our homes. Now, I know there's a calculation done that there's several devices in every single household that is present. This includes all the smartphones, all the tablets, all your computers, laptops, even the screens that you've got, the smart screens. All of that is included in that. There's several items that are all connected at the same time. Now, there's a price to pay if you get this wrong. There's a price to pay. Yes, our children might need entertainment. Yes, people need to have some form of entertainment. But the people, if you cross the line, you will ruin yourself and you will ruin your future. You can ruin it. So let's start with one sector. If you've got really young kids, right? Let's just say, for example, you've got 0 to, let's say, even, 12, 13, 14, 15, those kind of really young kids. There is no necessity for you to give your phone to them anywhere. At home, at a wedding, at a masjid, on a bus, to keep them quiet, in a public place, there is no reason whatsoever. I've seen this mistake being done so many times. I made the mistake myself for a little while, and then me and my wife decided, you know what, we're going to ban the children from taking my own phone. It's my phone. So my kid normally would take my phone and look at some photos or play a little game on it. And I very early on I said, no, that's it. You never get my phone. This is something that you just don't have. And you know what, the kid got used to it. All my 3 kids got used to it. They all got used to it. They all grew into it. Alhamdulillah. The reason why I'm saying that is the more and more I'm traveling, I see that. I'll give you an example. I was at a wedding just 4 weeks ago, and a brother is in the wedding hall. He's got his 3 to 4-year-old child with him. He wants to ask me an Islamic question. He could barely ask the question. His child is all over him. His child is like, really fidgety. So he's given straight, just to keep him calm, he gives his phone to him. Now, you've done worse damage in giving that phone. You don't realize, you've made it worse. Why? The kid takes the phone, the kid finds something that they want to watch. Now, what will they usually watch? Either they're going to play a game, a simple game you're going to give them, or they're going to watch YouTube on there. Now, what you don't realize is that YouTube watching all the games playing is stimulating the brain in a different way. Our children need to get used to real world. And when I say real world, the real world, guys, is the normal world is sometimes exciting and many times it's boring and sometimes boring. Being bored is part of life. Being bored is part of life. And I want you to understand this. Look, when me and you were young, I can't remember, maybe I'm talking to the guys who are 40 and, but I don't know who to talk to right now, yeah? When I was young, when we were traveling from one city to another city in the car, we had no devices, nothing. we used to sit in the car, we used to count the bridges. I remember with my sister and my brother, we used to count the cars, different color cars, count bridges, look at trees. That's all we used to do. These days, why do you need to give a device to kids? They're watching a film in the car, downloaded beforehand in a car, they need to keep busy with that. I tell you the damage you're doing. You're also giving these kids at a wedding, you're giving them tablets, giving them phones, smartphones, let them play, let them stay quiet. At a family visit, when guests are in your house, just to keep them calm, you give the device and you tell them, oh yeah, just give it to them, let them stay calm. The damage you're doing is, these kids have got no way of learning what sabr is. Sabr is massive part of your life. Tell me one person here who's not had to do sabr in life. One person, put your hand up. You've never had to do sabr in life. Tell me one person who doesn't have a problem in life. Everyone's got problems. Everyone has exercised sabr. Now let me tell you about sabr. Sabr, patience, is something you need. You need to gulp it down. You need to just say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to bear this. I'm going to go through this time. I'm going to be able to control myself. It's called self-control. I'm going to be able to do it because it's me. I'm going to govern myself. I don't need somebody else to help me through it because it's not something serious. It's just something that's happened. It's bothering me, but it's sabr. These kids, when they become bored, they need sabr. When kids, let's say for example, at the moment, you give them some exercise books to do. Let's say maths, English, science. It's not even your mother's books. Maths, English, science. They're sitting there, they're finding that boring. You take them off the games, you give them books and so on. You know what? They need a few hours to readjust themselves to the real world. And you've probably seen this in your house. Tell me this, does anyone agree with me on this? You gave your kids a few hours to play on one of these games, or a few of these games. They were on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, or maybe Xbox, or maybe some device, smartphone, tablet, whatever it is. They played for a few hours. As soon as you took them off, your boys in your house started to fight with each other. If that's ever happened, put your hands up. Gone. MashaAllah. See, you know why that happened? Because they went so low straight away that everything's boring. I want to play that game. I want the chemicals released in my brain. I want to feel good again about it. And then it's like they become aggressive. That feeling inside that I want to get that son, I can't have it. Mom and dad have said I can't play the game. So straight away they start on each other. They have mood swings. They feel low. They feel like they want to go, they don't want to be engaged in something. It takes a few hours before they go back to normal again, and then they can engage with the real world. That's what's actually happening every time you're doing it. I don't understand. I've been to bayans, and they're giving children these devices. The thing is, if you're giving a device to the kid, and they're in a bayan, and so on, and you're keeping them busy through that, you're missing the whole point. The point is, we're supposed to be in this gathering to be able to listen, keep our attention up. One of the key factors I found in playing these games, because they've done studies, there are enough years now to do studies. What they found is these kids are growing with a huge deficit of an attention span. What that means is these kids can't keep their focus for too long. In the early days, when they used to make a film or they used to make a program, they used to keep the same video camera shot on the screen in a film. They used to keep it for about half a minute. They realized that people were getting bored. So they made that shorter and shorter and shorter till they got to a few seconds. You watch any movie, any cartoon, anything that's been really well, you will see within a few seconds every time the screen changes. So the colors change, the background changes. Even if there's two people speaking, they'll show this person that, and then change this person, change that person, change this person, I'll just show something else, right? Why? Because they want people to always be, engaged. The colors on the screen, the image itself, the sound that's being played, all of that makes the person engaged. Okay, all that makes the person engaged. They've got three senses working at the moment. They've got your sight, they've got your hearing, right? And they've got, so they've got your sight, so you're seeing something, you're hearing something, and at the same time, you're probably even talking and saying that you're playing a game. They've got three involved straight away. In the fourth one they've added the fourth one. You've got five senses on it. The fourth one added, the remote control of the PS5, PS4, whatever, Xbox. When you hit something, it buzzes. zzz, zzz, right? So they're going to feelings, sense of feelings in there. The fifth one they're working on. The fifth one is the smell. So what they want to do is they want to create again. If they can get all five, they've completely locked you in. Because that's all your five senses working at the same time. And that's what Facebook Meta is working at. Because if you put that thing, you're in a virtual world, they've got your sight, they've got your full hearing, they've got feeling because they'll put certain devices in your hands where you can feel, where you actually feel like you could fall off a cliff. These virtual games make you feel like, oh my God, I'm there right now. Your full surroundings, everything in terms of your awareness has been taken by them, right? The only thing is smell. They've already included that in some cinemas where they give some movies where the actual seat itself rocks or something, and when there's mist in the film, they'll put mist in the air, and when there's, they're working on smells. So what they want to do is they want to put you on a certain chair that's got certain chemicals already inside it. As you play the game, this chair will release those chemicals, and basically that will come in your surrounding. As your eyes are closed, your fingers are on the button, you're moving like this, you're really in another world, okay? And the smell comes, they've got all five senses. Now, can you imagine taking all five senses away and suddenly then putting you together in a world when you're doing maths and English? What have you got? You're looking at the sun. No one's going to work it out for me. Oh, no. When I was playing Subway Surf and collecting the coins, it automatically worked it out for me, right? All my schools, all my things, all my levels, everything automatically works it out. I've got to work this out myself, right? I've got to work this out, write it out. I've got to do the arithmetic in my head. It's boring. So the attention span of these kids is very, very low. Very low. To the extent that these kids, they can't even sit one lesson without daydreaming several times. Our kids, current kids, I'm telling you right now, in many of the classes, the huge problem teachers are facing is the daydreaming. It's a huge problem. It's come in certain journal papers, but there's more to be done on this because kids need to open up with what happens. So let's say I'm talking right now. As I'm talking, kids have listened to me, but they've gone to the last thing I've said and they've zoned off. They're zoned off. Or they're sitting with they're talking, they listen to me, and suddenly their mind is on TikTok. Suddenly their mind is on Instagram or something. Now let me talk about this. I've just talked about the games, right? Let me talk about the TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and the algorithms behind there. They've spent billions of dollars behind these social media. Billions. Silicon Valley is the world leading technology. Now, if you look at the stocks and the market of stocks, the greatest one, the top 10 that are doing well always are in technology. It's all about this tech, right? Now, what have they done? You're thinking, well, where have I got wrong? I've got Instagram, I've got Facebook. I'm just connecting up with a few friends. I'm seeing what's going on, and that's all it is. No, you're wrong. You are a means of making hundreds and millions of dollars and perhaps billions of dollars in the long run. How does it work? Well, what they're doing is they're throwing you certain adverts now and again. Certain influences are there in the background. They're paying money. Many companies are paying their advertisement monies into Instagram, Facebook, into TikTok and so on and so forth. And they've tweaked the algorithm to a way that they're going to get you hooked. Now this is addiction. Addiction on another level. And the price we're paying, the biggest price we're paying is the akhirah. Biggest price me and you are paying is the day we die, you're going to realize that, oh my God, I've spent this many hours a day. If you want to wake yourself up, go to I think you can definitely do this on an iPhone. I'm sure you can do it on other phones as well. There's a section in your iPhone, you can see how long you've been on it on every single day and every single week. It will shock you to see the stats. And it'll tell you exactly how much you spent on social media, how much you spent on certain apps, okay? It's really important for you to follow that and see what your own stats are. And also the close ones you've got, what the stats are. Because before you realize it, you've actually spent a full 2 hours, full 3 hours, right? Full 2 to 3 hours. In a 24-hour shot, right? You've only got 6 hours to yourself, max. Max 6 hours to yourself, sometimes even 4 hours. Let me break it down for you. When you've woken up in the morning, I'm talking about the working class here, You woke up in the morning, you're just doing your fajr, you're getting ready for work, you've gone to your workplace, right? You've gone to your workplace, you go 9 o'clock, you come back at 5 o'clock, by the time you're home it's 6 o'clock, by the time you've had your dinner or something, it's 7 o'clock. Now from 7 to 11 when you're going to actually sleep, you've only got 4 hours. 4 hours of time. Of that, if you spend 2 hours on social media, on your phone, smartphone, which people are easily doing, right? Half of your actual time is gone, because the rest of it was at work. On weekend, people are spending several hours. Sometimes, smartphone, tablet, we are playing, we are this, we are scrolling, we are social media again and again, this through here, through here, through here. Before you realize it, 2-3 hours are gone. The same person on the same day has read 0 Quran. This is absolute 0 Quran. If they ask themselves, oh, I'm going to read Quran, it's probably going to end up being 1 or 2 pages, probably quarter juz, less than that, which takes them 5 minutes or something to do. If they're lucky to do that, no dhikr whatsoever, no investment of the akhirah, just about get the salah done. Even when you do your salah, if you've been playing your games before your salah, your mind is going to be playing to you those games. Straight up. Tell me true or not. If you've been playing those games, then you say Allahu Akbar straight away and you're trying to concentrate, you just see that game there. Yes or no, guys? Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Yes, that's what happens. Your akhirah, look, the biggest price we are paying is the akhirah. Now, let's put that aside, because that is a huge loss that we're making for myself. This is my loss, this is your loss. The second loss is we're losing the dunya. And we're losing our kids in the dunya, they're losing their Islam. And let me explain to you how they're losing their Islam. Time wasting, ghafla, being unaware of who you are, what your real, purpose of life is a huge killer, right? And it's a huge distraction, and it becomes an addiction, like I said. How did they get you addicted? Okay, algorithms have been set already. They're already working straight away. They've already asked you, what's your name, where do you live? Okay, the name is this, Muslim name, okay, Abdul, no problem, you're Muslim, okay, good, straight away. Where do you live? Luton, okay, Luton. They've already worked out the average salary of Luton. They've got average salaries of every single part of the UK map, of the world map. Okay, so they're not straight away, okay, LU2 this, LU1 this, LU3 this. They've already worked out, because these are super fast, artificial intelligence programs, supercomputers that are working at a millisecond to work all this out. Okay? Straight away you've opened your Instagram account. You're an average male, 35 years old, you go into Instagram straight away, the first one they're going to show you probably is going to be something like some football or something like some sports. Something they'll just throw it at you, right? Straight away you watch, let's say you watch the football, you watch the goal. Once you watch one goal, the next one you flip up, they'll probably give you something else related to football or some other sport that's very close. Why? Because they've worked out you're a male. Why did you watch that? You're a male. There's no way you're going to watch this if you're a female, like stay on. They watch, you know what they do? They look at how many seconds. Point how many seconds you stay on there. If you stay on there for more than 3 seconds, and especially more than 7 seconds, they know there's something that interested you. But they're trying to work out what has interested you. What's happening in your mind. So, say you watch that football thing, they gave you another one, maybe you watch 1 or 2 one, and after that, they give you another sports one. Then straight away, they know you're a male, they'll give you an MMA, they'll give you a boxing. Because they know, mid-age guy, 35 years old, he's into that, he's going to be into sports, he's going to be into MMA, he's going to be into boxing. So they'll give you that, then you watch that, and you watch it. So now they know, okay, this guy likes that. They're going to throw in a little joke in there, a little prank in there. Let's see if you like that. Are you the jokey type? If you watch that, okay, mid-age guy, football, sports, jokey type, they've worked you out for the next thing, right? And what they're working in the background is, what can we sell him? Straight away, they're working on what can we sell. So straight away, the next advert that comes up is going to be Nike shoes. Because you're into sports. Right? They know that. You're into sport. You watch football, you're going to have something to do with Nike shoes. Right? You're going to have something to do with a laptop or something. Cars. Cars is a massive one, right? So let's say another one, they'll show you a car moving, sports car, whatever. You watch it more than 7 seconds, whatever. Maybe even 3 to 7 seconds straight away. They work out, okay, this guy's into his cars. And they'll show you different cars, whatever. And then some advert will start popping up with cars and that car and this car. They'll work out something. Now, let's say you never buy something and you say to me that, you know what, I've never bought anything from this. So what? They're still making money. They're making their money because the more you flip, the more you scroll, the longer you stay on there, the longer they can prove to the advertisement companies that you've got this much data, this many people have kind of came on, this long they stayed on there, this many videos or adverts in the screenshots they watch, That's it. That's the money from the advertisement companies. They don't care about you. They don't care about your addiction. They don't care about your background. They don't care what happens. Now let's say, for example, it's a woman. A woman watches straight away. They show one thing. They show maybe some makeup. And she liked you. She watched it for a little while. Okay, you're into makeup. They show lipstick. They show this. They show eyebrow. This and that. Blah, blah, blah. What they're going to sell her? Straight up, handbag, shoes, high heels. They're gonna sell her that kind of stuff because they know every other woman is into that. If not that, some breast. If not that, some other, surprise him, some kind of gift, whatever, and it's working, so they're making money. Now, the algorithm thing has got even super, because what TikTok did was beyond what any other algorithm did. Every other algorithm so far worked like the way I said. They work out who you are, they work out where you are, they work out how many videos you watch, what kind of videos you watch, and they know what to send you next. And I tell you, brother, wallahi, this is so crazy. By the time you've been on this for a few days, the next video they're going to show you on YouTube, the next video they show you on your Instagram feed or whatever, you're like, I've got to watch that. I've got to watch that. They put a title next to it, above it. It's your thing. It's exactly what, you've got to see what happens there. Right? And you watch it. And you're hooked onto another 7 minutes. You're hooked onto another 6 minutes. They're taking another 5 minutes of you. And they'll keep on doing that. And you know what? Another thing is, if it's not this, it's your interaction with people. Now, why on earth are you following other people? Why? What's the need? And people have gone to what extreme? People have gone to the extreme of advertising their lives on social media. Why? Why do you want to tell people what's happening in your life? There's hasad out there, there's jealousy there, there's evil eye there. People will give you the evil eye, people will be jealous of you, people will hate you for what you have. You don't want to advertise, this is not a place to advertise to the world what you have. To the extent youngsters are advertising their fake images, people are, sisters are faking it, brothers are ending up with catfishes. Catfish, they look up catfish, you know what that is? Yeah? You don't know what catfish is? Yeah? He saw her, he fell in love with her, he loved her, everything, till the day he met her. She never even looked like her sister. She looked like some other person. Now guys, when you move slightly forward, everyone, you move slightly, filling all the gaps, a lot of people coming inside here from the back. Or if you just watch the person's camera here, everyone just move forward, please. Everyone move forward, please. Now, the Instagram, there's something called the perfect Instagram image. Why on earth are people trying to fake the image? You take it into Photoshop, you enhance the image. People make themselves look like what they're not. People are buying cars and people are buying stuff on credit. It's not even theirs. Then they advertise it on social media just to get a status amongst the people that are following them. It's a total fake world. Nothing of that is real. And when people take selfies, they're always smiling. Of course they're always smiling. Who takes a sad face and takes a selfie and puts it on the internet? No one's going to do that. Well, are they always happy? No. They've got huge problems behind in the background. All they're doing is they're always showing that I'm happy. I've got this kid. Now, once you show your kid on social media, do you realize every single kid every single parent who doesn't have a child is going to be looking at that thinking, yeah, I don't have a child. Don't you feel that? People are advertising their cakes, food. They can't sit without having a meal. They take a photo of the meal, send it straight over, then start enjoying the meal. Whenever I'm in a doubt, I've always said this. If you're going to take pictures, you're going to send it 48 hours later. I want to make sure that that food goes through my stomach, into the sewage system, and then nozzle falls into the sewage system. You know what I'm going to say? I don't want that nozzle to come straight in my stomach, because sometimes your stomach gets messed up. Why? Because some guy in Bangladesh saw your Facebook post. He hasn't eaten meat in 6 months. Suddenly he sees, Ya Allah, that Sigmate, Nazar came from Bangladesh, supersonic speed, hit you in the stomach. Why are you inviting a hasad, jealousy, evil eye into all of this? For what? Why are you showing your kids? Your kids are, and then the kids want to start doing things and they want to become famous. One of the first things that kids want to do is they want to become a YouTuber or they want to become a TikToker. What they don't realize is it's going to seriously hurt their future. They don't know what the world is. They don't know how to do stinja properly. They don't know how to tie their shoelaces properly. And they want to do a dance, funny dance on TikTok and make it go viral. And if it goes viral, they're so happy. And some of these dads are happy as well. And I don't get it. Because I tell you what happens to this. If you follow any of the celebrities that became famous when they were still young people, you follow their lives and you start seeing that they got completely mashed by the time they got to their late 20s. Take Justin Bieber, for example. Justin Bieber became an instant internet hit overnight, went viral, girls went crazy for him. Crazy. What happened after that? Where he's just been in and out of drug rehabilitation, and he's going in and out of trouble. You know what happens to them? Let me explain to you what happens to them. They become famous at 18, at 19. Justin Bieber is not alone. There's a whole set of young stars that became celebrities at a young age, and then they completely flopped it when they got into the 20s. Why? They got so much attention at the age of 18, at the age of 17, 16. It was like unreal. The amount of chemicals that were released in their heads, of their excitement, their joy, their euphoria that they felt at that moment. They were in another world. Then what happens is, they have to then live a life where they can't go anywhere. They can't have a normal life like you and me. They can't do it. They can't. None of these celebrities can walk into Tesco, can walk into Walmart. They can't do it. They will stop the whole town. People come for selfies, for autographs. People stop their cars, right? And they will stop the entire town. They'll cause a gridlock. And you know what? After a while, they miss that. You know what they miss? They miss walking down these streets. They can't walk down the street. They cannot walk without a mask. They have to cover their face, wear a mask, wear a wig, cover their face, have bodyguards with them. And every day the same thing. And even then, when they're in the supermarket, they're in London, they want to shop. They're with a face that's not their face. They're breathing behind the mask. They're finding it so difficult. They're with the two bodyguards and they have to act like this, be like this. You know what? Those people that are following them, then those people start to cuss them. They start to diss them. The media starts to put them down. And people are like this. People are animals sometimes. If you know too many people and too many people are following you, you're going to get a portion of them that are going to be like animals. I'm not saying everybody, but a portion of them are going to be like that. They just want you to go down. And then what happens is, they got a lot of money, they've got a lot of attention. In the end, they start to feel depressed, they feel down because of the criticism they're getting. They put a post online, it gets 1 million views straight away. Of them, 700,000 people will love it, like it, 1 billion. But there will be like 100 people, 200 people are cussing them, dissing them. You ugly this, you diss that. Just for nothing, because they're shayateen. And there's always less than a percent of people are always going to do that. No matter how good you are. And when you're in the millions, that 1% is a lot of people. Okay? And it gets to them. They read these comments. They see these. Then they go for plastic surgery. They try and make their faces different because people want them to look like a certain way. And then they start getting to drugs because they're feeling low. So they turn to drugs. And then they've got to smash themselves up. Because once you're into drugs, you kill yourself. What have you got left, mate? Your whole body, your own body, you're killing your own body because of a bit of enjoyment, just to take yourself high for a little while. That's what they're doing. Now, these youngsters who want to become YouTubers, that want to become TikTokers, they don't understand what they're getting into. Parents never ever encourage your child to open one of these channels and to start their own little thing. I've seen parents, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. The dad's got his one, the mom's got her one. She's, okay, she's in a hijab, she's doing TikToking every day, showing her face, right? Okay, my sister, look, I'm being straight up with you, right? Men are looking at you. And that husband in your house is not stopping you getting on the Instagram. They use. Why is he doing? Your wife is showing her face every day on social media. Many men across the world are watching your face, the face of your wife, and enjoying, having lust for the face of your wife, and you don't feel a thing inside. What kind of man are you? What is inside? Where is your Islam? Where is your morality? Where is your shame? Why do you want to even put that on there? Then the kids start making their own little channels and they want to, get to be famous and this and that. And the whole thing is, if one of us gets famous, we get a lot of attention, then we can go into advertisements. And once we do that, then we can rake in monies from Instagram, from Facebook. Because once your channel goes up to a certain amount of likes, you can then get paid for advertisement you play on your channel. on your thing, and then they'll use you as an influencer to try and get other people. No, companies will try and sell their products through you. But what's happened to you? Where are you? Where are you heading? What's happened to your life? You know, this happiness you've got with people, where are you actually with Islam? And it's a real question. Now, what TikTok did is it upped the game. It didn't base it upon your last views and who you are and so on. It looked at, across the globe, it looked at people, how they reacted to so many different videos. For example, video of the football I said, and video of this other one, and video of this other game, and video of they looked at these algorithms. I'm talking about millions and millions of people's visits, and what made certain people across the world, in Peru, in Madrid, in Bangladesh, in other parts of the world, what made them stay longer on the time they spent on social media, longer on TikTok, what made them watch more of these videos and certain videos, what's the greatest length of time they've had in anyone across the world, and why? They used this artificial intelligence supercomputers to work that out, and then they came across with something that is amazing for them, but totally destroying for yourself and for me. If you get onto TikTok and you start watching a couple of videos, very fast they're going to show you such videos you can't turn your eyes away from it. It is everything you want to see, you want to hear, you want to engage in. And you're paying a big, hefty price for it. The price versus your akhirah price, the time that you're spending on there, you could have used for akhirah, there's a massive price there. The next thing is that this becomes your world. People get hooked onto these social media. So much so that they make their house life secondary. They make the relationship with their wife or husband secondary. They make the children. They're supposed, you're supposed to get let's say you're not supposed to get your children on time, get the cooking done, get the clothes, washed, get everything, get the house clean, there's a lot of duties to get here. It takes time, my friend. It takes time. If you calculate it, it's probably 1 hour just hoovering your house. Take 1 hour to hoover your house. Washing the dishes, 20 minutes, you start adding it up, right? Clean the floor, mopping the floor, add another 10, 20 minutes on there, right? Start washing the clothes, take them out, put them out, dry them, put them back in, all those chores. What happens after that? You know what happens? It's like, this is getting a bit too much. They start delaying it. You start delaying children's food. You start not giving them attention. Do you know that there's a huge amount of anxiety in our children? They're not saying it. The next generation is going to be big time. Already in America, there are a lot of studies on children. They've said that I think it's a very high number. It's a very high number. It's something like, I think it's 12 children out of so many children that are affected by anxiety, and simply because of this. Simply because parents are hooked onto devices. They are not giving real human time to humans. Allah created us humans for us to be in real time, not to be online, not to be behind the screen, and not to fool ourselves in trying to create a world where with outside people, when we're living with the people in our own house. People feel, humans, I'll tell you another thing, but there's a lot of studies coming out. They've studied what causes anxiety. And they've found links with people's lives being shortened. Lives are left short. People are dying early. People's hair is falling early. People are people are getting depressed, and there's a lot of anxiety, and it's to do with, guess what? The cells we have inside our bodies, they've got a little tail there. I think they call it the teleo something effect, right? What's it called? Telomere effect, is that right? Yeah? And what happens is the ends of these strands, they become something which start to tether, right? So there's deep stuff. These are inside the human body. So what they found is, if the ends of it are intact, right? Like sometimes, your hair. I've said, sometimes you see the end of your hair split. Do you ever see that? Your hair splits, right? Sometimes it's one hair, but sometimes you look at the end of the hair, it splits, right? So they found that the end of these telomere these cells, or this part of the cells of the body, it splits, and when it splits, it's weak. And then finally happens throughout the body, and what that is, that's a sign of humans not spending enough time with other humans with interaction. Do you realize this one day? It comes right down to, when we give hugs to each other, when we shake hands, we give hugs to you, we give smiles, we talk to people, and someone who you can love, someone who you can trust, someone who you can actually spend time with, and it's like a long term, it's not short term, long term, someone in your life you can trust, you've got a friend, you've got a family member, you can open up to them, you can talk and converse about your inner feelings, and you've got true love for them. That actually extends your life, because that extends the ends of those telomere parts in your bodies, and they find there's a very clear correlation to that. You know what that means? That means that if you go back to the way we used to live as humans before these technological devices came, we humans were absolutely fine. These devices are causing huge ruptures in our communities. In fact, what's also happening is kids are now going into a mode of they're getting Islamic learnings and Islamic teaching and Islamic scholars and Islamic people coming on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and you get recommendation, 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, this, that, YouTube Shorts comes up, and you got Instagram sort of feeds, comes up. You can't stop, you can't say, no person who's not studied the religious studies of Islam deeply, like if you've done a full Alim course, if you've done a religious studies course for 6 years, you will know which scholar to listen to, you will know which scholar not to listen to. Even if you've done 4 years, you'll have a good idea of what to do. Now, anyone who doesn't know about ilm, about knowledge, about the deeper ends of Quran Sunnah, you don't know who's saying what, you're going to start listening to this scholar, oh yeah, Subhan, yeah, he gave a hadith, yeah, he quoted the Quran. You don't know what's behind that ayah. You don't know what's behind that verse. You don't know you don't know what other ayats are there which he never quoted. The problem is not what he quoted. The problem is what he never quoted. You guys awake, or you guys follow me, yes or no? Yes. 10 people say this. Guys, you follow me? Yes. You know when you go to a garage and you're going to fix your car, and you put your car in, the best mechanic is going to tell you where your problem is not. What you thought your problem is, he's going to say, maybe that's not your problem. Or he'll probably tell you that is your problem, but you've got other problems. That's the best mechanic. He'll put proper diagnosis. He's not going to fix one problem, sees another problem, leaves that there, because he knows tomorrow you're going to come for that other problem again to him. That's not a good mechanic. A good plumber comes to your house, he sees under your sink, he sees that he fixes it, or he tells you nicely, he said, I just want to tell you that there's another problem there. If you don't fix that, after a little while you're going to get a leak over there. So you might as well do it in one go. It's going to be cheaper for you, might as well do it. And he's not scamming you. He's telling you exactly where the problem is, okay? Now, the same thing applies here. When you listen to some Islamic scholar, you don't know what they've missed out, you don't know what they've said. La ilaha illallah, there's fabricated stuff, the stuff that's been said which is taking your mind in one direction, and you don't even know the full essence. Like for example, if I say to you right now, if I give you bad stories of Bangladesh, one after the other, and you're a person who doesn't know the Bangladeshi community properly, you're going to start hating Bengali people. If I sit here and give you good stories of Bangladesh, good stories, mashallah, Bengalis, they're very generous, they look after you, they're going to give you 7 curry. If I fill you with all of that, you're going to start liking Bengalis. I can fill your mind with bad things about Pakistanis. And if I carry on doing that bad stories, and these stories are all true. And you hate Pakistanis. I can give you nice stories about Pakistanis. Wonderful stories of how they help people, how they're there for you, the brothers, they will stick up for you and so on. You love them, right? If I give you both of everything, then you get a balanced view of it. If I give you one-sided, you'll go one side, not the other side. And it's very easy to fool people. Let me give you a story and you're going to understand this. 2015, I'm traveling through Gatwick Airport. Going to the airport, going to Turkey. If you remember, 2015 is the height of ISIS around. Right? The ISIS in Syria, Iraq, and so on and so forth. An MI5 intelligent person was standing there, straight away took my passport, and went into a 25-minute conversation with me. He made me sit down. He said to me, where are you traveling? I said, Turkey. He's obviously thinking, am I going to Syria after that? I said, listen, I'm not going to Syria after that. And I took out my phone, turned on YouTube. I said, look, this is who I am. These are my lectures on the internet. You must have, your intelligence service must have some kind of, something about me. I'm sure you've got something on record. Go and find out what kind of lectures I've given. But with all the algorithms you've got, you must have some kind of report on me, right? Anyway, he's looking for a certain answer from me. Anyway, he starts talking to me, and then you know what? I realize, he wants to know if I've got some kind of terrorist mind. So what did I do? MI5 intelligence service person, I said to him, listen, let me tell you how they make and how they create a terrorist mind. So I start quoting ayah this, ayah that, ayah that, ayah that. I said, listen to these ayahs. If I carry on quoting like this and this hadith and that thing, I've got the perfect terrorist mind. And I said, you know how to undo this mind? You quote this ayah, that ayah of mercy, of this, of justice, of equality, of this, blah, 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 blah. And this hadith, that hadith, you know what? You've now neutralized the mind. You know what he said to me? He goes, can you come and work for us? I said, no, I'm not going to work for you. I said, you want me to be a rat? I said, straight up. I said, you need help, you come knocking on my masjid door, whatever you want, I need something, I might come to you, whatever, but I'm not doing your job for you. The guy asked me to give presentations to his officers. I said, no, I said, I ain't got time for that, but you need to find your own people to do that. But what did I do there? He let me go. What did I do there? I told him, I understand how to make the terrorist man, I understand how to undo the terrorist man. I've done both, I've got studies of both of them. Now what person who's young, who hasn't studied the deen, who's flicking through TikTok videos and Instagram videos, is going to be able to know, oh, that ayah he quoted, but he never quoted that other ayah. Who's going to ever know that? You listen to this, listen to that, listen to that, soon your mind becomes a certain thing. You want to become a political activist, you want to do this for these brothers across the world, and you become this and that, you start saying, my imam's not doing anything, this and that, you hate to hype up, blah, 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 blah. You can't go too far. The only way we're going to see you is through a window in Denmark. So a brother came to me in my local masjid, and he said to me, Imam, we've got to do something about this. What's going on? A few years back. We're going to do something about what's going on. I said, well, what are you going to do? He said, I want to fly out. Where are you going to fly? I want to go to this country. What are you going to do that? I help the ummah. The brother said, do me a favor. He said, what? I said, you're going home. I said, do you have a small shop on the way? He said, yes. I said, do they have hummus and bread in there? He said, yes. I said, can you buy hummus and bread and go home? He said, what are you asking me to do? I said, take bread and hummus, go home, and I want you to do something. I want you to live off hummus and bread only for 2 weeks. He said, Imam, I came to you to ask you to go out there and you asked me to take hummus and bread to my house. I said, yes, bro. He said, why? I said, bro, you think you're going to fly over there and they're going to have chicken and chips ready for you? You think on the corners of the war zone, they're going to have kebabs ready? Kebabs ready. This kebab, shish kebab, that kebab ready for you. You think you're going to go over there, you're going to find a nice mattress, comfortable, the one your dad's giving you in your house. You have water supply, everything already. All you need to do is just imagine you're in Fortnite and like, you're right, if you do this 2 weeks ago, I said, those guys over there, they're having hummus and bread every single day. That's their staple diet. That's what they eat. They've got nothing else. Dry bread, hummus, every day for weeks. That's their life. That's the same staple diet. I said, you can't get used to something, just go home. Just go home. His eyes open. Like, they see these videos, they see this, that, and then they get hyped up. Now look, if you don't have a balance, if you don't know about life in general, you can't navigate through all of this. You're a young person. You've got to learn about life first. What is life? Look, they make mistakes. They watch these videos, they watch too many of these videos. Even as an adult, I'm telling you. On your WhatsApp, sometimes you get these videos brothers send you, mashallah, they're active brothers. And it's all circulates, all forward, come this way, forward that way, come this way, forward that way. It's like a traffic light in the middle. And you know what it is here? They don't realize that if you've got a few people that are forwarding you all these messages, by the after time, you got to the end of the day, you got so many videos of this being forwarded to you. And if you're like me, with so many people that are contacting from your masjid and they're also forwarding you and so on, you got no time to go through all these videos. Anyway, my point was this. If you watch these videos one by one, you're watching these videos, it's going to get you depressed. Some of these videos where atrocities are happening, you watch them, it makes you feel depressed. Did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam Sahaba walk to Makkah, go and stand there on the edges of Makkah, on the edges of the Haram, came from Medina, stood there, watched how the mushrikeen were torturing our brothers in Makkah? Did they do that? Did they keep on coming, traveling every other day, every other week? They're coming from Medina with a whole caravan of Muslims. Hey, what are we doing? We're just going to go and watch our brothers being tortured in Makkah. What would happen to the Sahaba if they were to go watch their brothers being tortured in Makkah and you can't do anything about it because you're not allowed in there? You have to go all the way back to Medina and you're watching that every single day. You're going to go crazy. They got the news of their brothers. Yes, they made dua for their brothers. They made everything they could to rescue their brothers. They made everything like that. But the one thing that you don't do is they fill yourself with all these images because it's going to actually put you down. If I get some of these videos, you know that by the few seconds of the first video I've seen, I normally switch it off and delete it. Because I will help I feel for my brothers, I feel for my sisters. I'll do everything within the means and within the law to do everything I can for the brothers and sisters across the world. But the one thing that I'm not going to do is make myself go down. Why? I've got so much other things that I can contribute to society where I am. Where I am, I've got so many other things to contribute. Anyway, we're not saying we don't care for them. I'm just saying look after yourself. With the amount of videos and things that you see now, in my local masjid, what happened after a little while, when someone who studied said to me, you never watched the video I sent you. Just because you send me a video, I've got to take the time out to watch your entire 3 minutes video. You realize that you're not the only brother that sent me the video. There's so many other brothers that sent me the video. I said, well, why didn't you watch it? Well, I haven't been watching my videos for a few days. I said, bro, I blocked you. I blocked you on WhatsApp. Because you blocked me. Imam, you blocked me. Yes, I blocked you. Yes, I blocked you. I blocked another 60 people. I'm going to quite a few local masjids. Everyone's sending me these. I blocked 60 people. They said, what you blocked me for? I said, listen, bro, I've got a life to get on with. I haven't got time for every few seconds. Ding, 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 ding. You know, I've got them silent all the time, but still they come. You know, you go in there, there's so many messages that are clunking up your whole thing. I haven't got time for that. And you've got to realize that just by sending these messages forward, you're not doing the best of you've got your own, fine, you understand, get the awareness, don't get me wrong. Make awareness fine. 1 or 2 things awareness, 1 or 2 times to send it. But you don't need to sit there all day sending these messages and videos and sending them, and your whole day conversation actually becomes CNN. You have become another CNN. You've become another Sky News, you've become another CNN, you've become another BBC, and you're going to say to me, well, that's quite offensive. Now, that's not offensive. Do you realize that most of the information we've got coming through us are through big channels? And by the time you've seen, okay, sometimes social media is good in the sense it reveals what's really going on. At the end of the day, you're only seeing what you've got. Unless you contact the people on the ground and you go and see them, visit them, get real information from people who you've seen, it's a complete different world. But anyway, let's just put that aside. My point to you is, my brothers and my sisters, these devices, these things that we've got in our hands are taking so much of our time, our attention, our 5 senses almost are getting engaged in this. Are we paying a price for it? What's the alternative to this? The alternative to this is, please, number 1, make yourself aware of where you are exactly with this. Number 2 is, you have to say to yourself, you know what, I've done too much of this. How is it that I've spent 2 hours a day on these devices and now there's no Quran in my life? Why? How? There's no extra salah in my life. There's no tahajjud in my life. There's no dhikr in my life. The sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is not being, is not being implemented in my life. And I'm a person who's going through this. How? Why? What am I doing? The Quran has said to me, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? Where are you going? Let me ask myself, where am I going? So that's first is realization where I am. Next thing is this, minimize your time on this. One thing is, I don't follow anyone. I don't follow anyone's page. I don't look at anyone's page. There's a reason why. I'm using the social media for dawah purposes. You might say to me, why are you on social media? Let me tell you how I got into social media. Back in early, like when the first social media came out, I was against all this. I didn't want to open a single page. I made it very clear in my bias. I'm never going to open a Facebook account. I'm not going to open, that time it was Twitter, Facebook. I said, I'm not going to open these accounts. Then suddenly in 2011 or something, someone opened a fake account in my name. They were Shaykh Hasan Ali. I said, ooh, I've got a dope now. Someone who is another Shaykh Hasan Ali. He racked up 2,000, 3,000 followers. He's sending daily reminders. I'm like, yo, I'm here. My team came across to me, they said to me, listen, I said, contact the guy. They contacted him for 6 months. They were emailing him, buzzing him, emailing him, sending him messages, never replied. And he's racking up followers. And I said, what do we do? They said, the only way is that you've got to now open your own account, the real account. I said, okay, if you can't beat them, then you're in it. So then I opened the account and then it started, and I used it for dawah purposes. Then I saw a benefit in this. The benefit I saw is that if you use it for real dawah purposes, if you're using it to try and make people aware, keep them, informed, take them in a certain direction of thought, process of the deen and so on, then alhamdulillah, there's benefit in that. Right? Then I said, okay, one by one I opened the other ones. But if you look at my accounts, I'm not following anyone. I'll tell you why. I've got no interest in seeing whether you're having hudki shira at home. People, cake, brown, chocolate cake, that's on your Facebook page. I've got no interest in that. I've got no interest in whether Arsenal won or Man U won or they lost. They're losing anyway, but anyway, honestly, I've got no interest in that. I've got no interest in following you, your life, your family, your cars, your credit, your cars that you're buying on credit, your housing, your family, your wife, your children, your uncles, your weddings, your this, your ring, your whatever. I've got no interest. What benefit is that going to do for me? Absolutely nothing. It's going to waste my time. So I regard that as a total waste of time. I'll only go into someone's page if I've heard I need to visit the page for some reason. That's the only reason why I'll go to someone's page. Otherwise, I'm not joining others' page. I'm doing it for dawah purposes. If you want to do that, you do it for dawah purposes. If not, you leave it. If you're going to follow certain pages because they're giving you dawah information, real information, religion, alhamdulillah. Now, on that note, what I want to say to you is that who do you actually listen to on the internet? Who do you not listen to? The only way you're going to find that out is to go through your local imams. These scholars, including myself, who are on YouTube, who are on social media, we give you a platform presence. Platform presence, which means when I'm here, I'm giving the bayan, I have to be on good behavior. You guys understand? I have to perform, I'm performing. All speakers on stage, I give a bayan, they give a lecture, they're being watched by the people at that time, they are performing. Okay, they're giving you dawah, fine. Now, the real life is off stage. The real life is not on stage. Do not judge someone on stage. No matter how much Quran they teach you, preach you, no matter how their lives are, wow, wonderful, this guy, mwah. I'll give my daughter to him and marry him. Mwah. Don't judge them on stage. The people who really get assessed is off stage. When you live with someone, when you spend time with someone, when you're in your local area, when their life is in front of you, when your dad has spent time with his dad or something, when you spend time with him, your dad spent time with him when he was a little kid, you're spending time with him as a peer, as your own age. You're seeing his life emerge in front of you for 10 years, 15 years. That person is an imam in your own locality. He's giving dars of hadith, he's giving dars of Quran, he's an imam of the masjid. They're doing his centers, okay? These are the people who your family have trusted. You know them, their life and character is right in front of you. If they're doing anything dodgy, it's going to come out into the town. Sooner or later it's going to come out. So therefore you've got a good way of knowing who you are following. That's the person you go to first and you learn your religion from. Don't make online your religion the first step. Now, you still have to learn online, understand that, because your local masjid, your local place hasn't got as many durus, as many lessons as the internet has. Because I've got lectures on there. So many other scholars have got lectures on there. How do you know who to follow? Then this is how you do it. You come to your local imam, and you say, Imam, these are the people on my list. that I want to watch. Can you please tell me which ones I can watch, which ones I can't watch? Let your local imam tell you. Then you listen or you don't listen. That's a very simple way. And that method I'm giving for entire people of the world. Go to your local Muslim imam whose character is in front of you. If there's anything dodgy, you know that that guy, I can't trust him. Let me go to someone I can trust. Whose deen, whose sunnah, whose way of living the deen is in front of all people. When he comes out of his house, even inside his house, because he's living in our town, his own wife, his children would have talked about their father or the husband in the community. We know his character. Based on that, you go with whether you're going to follow this person, and based on that, whether you're going to trust this person. From that, you then go to online, whether you're going to listen to those people or not. That's the only way. Otherwise, you know what? I'll tell you right now, there are people with beards online who are not scholars. People quoting Quran, Hadith, left, right, and center, social media, and on your TV screens. Oh my God, that one really annoys me. Everyone's in line, trying to get on the TV screen. Have you seen how many people are lining up in London today? They probably never even lined up for their own grandma. The same. Like, for attention. They want to get on the screen. They want to get behind the screen. You know, man who doesn't have any knowledge of the deen. I'm telling you, imams who are very shallow in their deen, who know a few things about Quran Sunnah, who got a very eloquent voice, who got a tongue, who haven't studied the deen. They know zero Arabic in terms of language. They only know how to read the Quran a few places. And they're the ones who are on the screens and pumping out Islam and so on every other, a day. And people are hooked onto them. People listen. People don't know who they listen to. People don't know what information, what real information they're getting. And I'm telling you right now, there are people out there on these screens. Okay, Mama, what time is this alarm?
7:15.
15. Yes, so about a few minutes. People on these platforms, they come on there, they will quote to you certain stuff, and then suddenly they put you into ikhtilaf. Suddenly you're fighting amongst yourselves. Suddenly your own brother from college comes home and he says, your salah is actually not done. Huh? He tells his own dad, you've been praying wrong all your life. Huh? Huh? Mom, you've been doing bid'ah all your life. Huh? What happened? We went to college. They said to him, hey, Bukhari, and they give one narrative, one thing, and suddenly that's it, he's sparked off. He's now against his own dad, against his own mother, brother and sister. He's calling them fasik, kafir, bid'ati, whatever. He's giving them names, he's labeling them. He doesn't, want to sit with them, live with them. But in all of that, the funny thing is, he eats from the plate of food that his mom cooks, and his dad buys. Yeah, bro, that's not going. You know what I'm saying? He still spends time, 40 minutes, in the nice, economic, hot shower, which his father pays for. Subhanallah. There's no question about that. But anyway, my point is that he's now got a problem with his own family members. Why? Because he started ending up watching certain people who made his mind think like that. And let me tell you one thing, with all of these people who are doing that, do you realize, and I've said this, do you realize that every one of them has a madhab? They say to you, if you follow a madhab, if you follow Imam Abu Hanifa, you're not following the Prophet ﷺ. It's a Daily Mail headline. A Daily Mail headline, black and white, to try and make you feel that something's gone wrong. They say, brother, there is one Islam, four mazhab. It means four Islams. Is there four Islams or one Islam? Which one are you going to say? Quran, Sunnah, one Islam or four mazhab? And then that's it, they've duped you. Four mazhabs? No, there are many mazhabs. There are four famous mazhabs. And on this online thing, people get duped with these TV screens and so on. They listen to all of that. Next minute, they don't know what they really, they're saying. Because what they're saying to you is that your salah is not done, you've got to do it according to this hadith, that Quran. And subhanallah, there's a very simple way of looking at it. I tell you what the simple way of looking at it is this. What does a madhab mean? A madhab means where you are following that imam's viewpoint and the hundreds of scholars in his time with the same viewpoint There are hundreds of scholars of his teachers who had the same viewpoint. There are hundreds of scholars above him who had the same viewpoint. The Sahaba who had the same viewpoint, their hadith, the viewpoint of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is the madhab you follow. It's their viewpoint. It's their way of saying, this is what we're going to accept from the Quran, and this is what we're going to, we're going to say, okay, we're going to prioritize this over that in the Quran and Sunnah. It's all about prioritization. After Imam Abu Hanifa, thousands and thousands of scholars have reassessed his thought process, his selection of hadith, his selection of the parts of the Quran, and said this is how we're going to form our viewpoint. And they've carried on doing that for 1450 years, or 1400 years. Right now, if you follow madhab, in Imam Malik's madhab, Imam Shafi's madhab, what you're doing is you're following a whole set of hundreds of thousands of scholars who studied all those narrations, who formed their principle. It's a heritage. You're following that all the way back to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not to Imam Shafi, not to Imam Abu Hanifa, no, to the Sahaba who saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were the ones who actually started this. So you follow that. Now when a guy comes to me and says, I follow Quran Sunnah, I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute. Who do you go to when you have an Islamic question? Who do you go to? If the guy says, I go to this scholar, that scholar, that scholar, fine, that's your method. That's your direction. That's the viewpoint. That's the viewpoint of those scholars that you're following. And you've got your own method. If he says, I pick and choose from the Quran, so well, that's your madhab, mate. That's your way. Madhab means your way of direction, the way you're going. That's your madhab. There's no way any person in the world who's a Muslim can tell me that they don't have a madhab. Every person has a madhab. It depends what your viewpoint, it depends what your stance is. That is your madhab. Anyway, when you look into this, you want to make sure that the kids and the people who are engaging in this, they're not going to lose their sense of direction. It's really important to have this. Because once that happens, family members are not going to be the same. It takes years to undo the damage. It's 14 past. I was going to quickly ask, has anyone got a question on what I've discovered? I was going to have the adhan very soon. No questions?
Just on TikTok,
Yeah.
it's Chinese. They show the West what they want to show, the junk and the garbage. But in China, they show you all of the beneficial stuff. So essentially, they're feeding you what they want.
So you're absolutely right with that. What they do is they look at TikTok in terms of where it came from China. They reward people in China for posting something that is actually educational, actually meaningful, something really good. They reward the people in the West, which are their enemies. They reward them for posting something which is really stupid. It's nonsense, and they're rewarding people for that. They're making those things more viral because China is against America. It's against the West in many ways. Anyway, what I'm going to say to you is I'm going to summarize my talk within Hadiyatan. I've told you about social media, I've talked about the devices, I've talked about the games that are being played at home, I've talked about the time that people are spending on there, I've talked about the akhirah, our own loss that we're creating, I've talked about children and how to do tarbiyah. Please regulate your own timing on these things, and instead of putting all your time, or most of your time, on these things that might not give you the benefit, please focus on the akhirah, on the benefits of your own akhirah investment. This means your own development of Islamic knowledge, your development of your spirituality, your akhlaq, your character, development of your dhikr, your remembrance of Allah, your salah, your nafil salah, your tahajjud, the extra thing that you're going to do, your dedication towards something that you want to do which is meaningful in life. Please use it for that as opposed to using it simply for these devices. Jazakumullah khair.